September is National Suicide Prevention Month. All month long, ABC7 is committed to having a tough but important conversation about suicide. There is a new National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline to call if you need help. That number is up there on your screen, 988. We'll keep it up at the bottom of the screen throughout the segment today. And as we bring you more resources, we want to tell you about a nonprofit that provides 24/7 online grief support to those who have lost a loved one to suicide. Joining us live now is Ronnie Walker, founder and executive director of the Alliance of Hope for Suicide Loss Survivors, which serves hundreds of people here in the Bay Area. Ronnie, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
We know the numbers when it comes to suicide in the U.S. The CDC says about 45,000 per year, one every 11 minutes, but we don't really look at the number of loved ones left behind. And that's a vast number, isn't it?
It is, and no one really knows exactly the number, but the best estimates are 6 to 8 people are profoundly impacted for each person who dies by suicide. There are some estimates that take it up to over 100, but for the most part, we go with 6 to 8. So that would make between about 300 and 400,000 suicide loss survivors in the United States each year, and many millions, about 4 to 5 million across the planet every year.
That is a lot of people facing that devastating trauma. You are a mental health counselor and you are a loss survivor yourself. What did you go through after losing your stepson to suicide?
Yes, thank you for asking. Well, my stepson, Channing was his name, ended his life in 1996. And it was a really tremendously disruptive event. It was as if a grenade went off in our family, leaving everyone wounded and struggling to survive. And there wasn't anything in my traditional training as a counselor. The fact that I was a mental health counselor made no difference at all. It was just a shattering experience. And then a number of years later, as I just kind of regained my footing, about 13 years later, I began to see that there was a real lack of support and attention on the loss survivors. We were doing a lot of work to research suicide prevention and a lot of money going into that. But the loss survivors didn't have the services available to them. And one of the prevailing conversations among survivors was, you never get over it, you just learn to live with it. Mm-hmm. You've joined the club no one wants to belong to. And I just thought at that point in time, perhaps we could launch a website that would provide more hope and more information, and didn't know if anybody would come. It was a kitchen table project, but people began to come from all over the world. So these days, the Alliance of Hope serves tens of thousands of people, and we have so many wonderful volunteers and a wonderful community that has joined, particularly to reach out to people newly bereaved.
So we're looking at the website for Alliance of Hope, and I can see that you offer a variety of services and support to people who have lost loved ones. Talk about some of the ways in which you can support people, like when they come to your website. I know it's 24/7 and I know it's online. What do you do?
Yes. Well, if you go to that Find Support section, they're in the navigation bar, you can find a number of things that we offer. You'll see that we have a community forum over on the left there. There's a picture of it. We have a community forum that has over 21,000 suicide loss survivors. And we get hundreds of messages every year from people who are using that, saying that it's their lifeline. It allows people to connect with other people who understand what they're going through. And it's really a culture of kindness. We have about 60 volunteers on that forum, ensuring that it's just a very welcoming place. And it's something I'm terribly proud of, because in this divisive political time, we've had nothing go on. All the things that normally divide people just fall away, and there's just a commonality of understanding of what it means to lose a loved one to suicide. So we have our community forum. We do online consultations through Zoom. We have a website that is very deep in information about the survivor experience, so people can look up and begin to understand a little bit about what they're going through. It's not going to take away the tremendous pain, but it'll at least let them know that it's normal, and that it will dissipate. Everything that we do has hope woven inside of it, and companionship and kindness. The first two words of our mission statement are kindness matters.
Mm-hmm. Kindness and finding someone in a community that understands what you're going through without judgment, right? Like the Alliance of Hope, I understand you've undertaken a campaign this month to really increase awareness in terms of the complexities of suicide and the loss facing survivors. Tell us, what is your goal?
Yes, we actually began this campaign 4 years ago. We noticed that the survivors on our forum were talking about the amount of guilt that they felt when they saw suicide prevention messaging. Mm-hmm. And they were feeling that they missed the signs, or they were confused because they saw no signs, or they had somebody who had a lot of signs and a lot of mental health issues and tried to get them help, and they couldn't. And so it was a little bit difficult. There was a lot of upset among loss survivors about some of the messaging. And what we did was take on an initiative to just let people know that suicide is a very complicated issue, that sometimes there are signs and you do everything you can think of and you still lose somebody. And sometimes there are no signs. People are really blindsided. And it's just a complicated issue. And we also wanted people to know, it's twofold. We want people to know it's a complex issue, but also that the survivors are really there and they need support. They need kindness and just all kinds of support to be able to get through what they're going through. I often say that when people lose someone to suicide, they're catapulted onto a journey of grief. And that's not a short journey. It's not days and weeks, it's months and years. And they're really catapulted into an abyss, and they struggle to survive. In the aftermath, suicide loss survivors are almost 10 times more likely to have suicidal thoughts in the initial months than the general public. Well, and there have been studies.
I do hope people will, during their most difficult times, turn to allianceofhope.org or other resources for help out there. And Ronnie Walker, I want to thank you for coming on. Also, once again, remind our viewers that in addition to Alliance of Hope, there is the new 988 national hotline where you can also get help. Again, 988 is that number. And of course, you can also go to abc7news.com/takeaction for more local resources.